Hey, how's it going? It's Robin Smith, and it's time for the Robin Smith Show for Sunday, March 30th, 2025. Welcome to the podcast. It's a solo show today. Thanks for joining me. I think I may be committing podcast heresy. I feel like all the podcasts that I listen to are pretty good about releasing the episode like day of or the next day so that it's relatively topical, relevant, etc. I'm not doing that. I release it on Sundays, and today's actually, I'm lying to you, of course. Today is March 28th, but the episode will come out on the 30th. So God only knows what will happen this weekend that I will not cover. But I think I've talked about this before. I've been playing around with, or toying with, or flirting with the idea of picking a different day to release episodes instead of having it be on Sunday. Just because right now anyway, things are far too busy to like work on podcast stuff over the weekend. So I might be forced to do that. I don't know. I'm very non-committal right now. But anyway, what I have to talk about is the Maryland game. I got to start right at the top. I still haven't watched the Caps game from last night. So I have no idea what happened. I know that Ovechkin is still only 7 away. I guess he was 8 away the last time I was on air, but he's now 7 away. That means he didn't score last night. But I don't even know if they won or not. But anyway, so Maryland, my poor Terps, the Gators, and Florida, number 1 seed, knocks out Maryland. I'm so sad about it. It was so epic against Colorado State, that game. Derek Queen for the buzzer beater. Oh, God, that was stressful in a good way because of how it ended. And then when I watched the Florida game, I got to be honest, I was just like, towards the latter half of the second half, I was just like, no, I'm not staying up. I'm not losing sleep over this. I got to just like fast forward, and I know that they're not going to win. At one point, it was like 13. Maryland had 13 rebounds and Florida had 31. It was like Florida had more offensive rebounds than Maryland had defensive rebounds. You don't deserve to go to the Elite Eight if you can't rebound. Congratulations, Florida. Good for you. And I don't know when the last time the Terps will get into the Sweet 16. I don't think it had been like 9 years or something. I don't know. I meant to mention this earlier. A buddy of mine actually used to teach Julian Reese. He was like, yeah, the dude was still like that tall in middle school. He was his like middle school teacher. So who knows? I am now very curious about like what slot Derek Queen will get drafted. Is he the 4th draft pick? Who will he play for? But that's all I'll ramble about with college basketball. Oh, no, the last thing I'll say is my daughter, all of us, my wife and my 2 girls, we all did brackets, myself and AI bot. And my oldest daughter, her bracket is outperforming AI. Of course, then again, the lesson really is that you can't use AI to predict the bracket, right? Because it doesn't matter how much access to data-driven statistical analysis you have, there's always going to be the spirit of the game and all the upsets and stuff. So good on her. She actually picked Florida. She picked Florida to win the whole thing. So her bracket, as busted as you can get, she still has a viable champion. I picked Duke, and then the rest of our family picked Maryland. I don't know if that wasn't really realistic, but it was hopeful. Anyway, let's mention who I have coming up on the podcast real quick. I have a clip for you. So next week, I'm bringing you the one and only Cori Grieb, and I'll play a clip from that conversation because that conversation's already happened. And then after him, I've got Rich Del Grande. Both of these guys have been on the podcast before. You know them. You love them. But I'm very excited to tell you, to announce today, I have the pleasure of hosting a 3 co-authors. I am talking about, and I don't know how to pronounce her name. I should have done my research. Is it Odner or Odner? I don't know. I will pronounce it correctly when they appear. But Chelsea, I'm going to go with Odner. Chelsea Odner, Robert Falconer, who's been on the program a couple times, and Jonathan S. Rose. They are coming on in April to talk about their upcoming book, Opening the Inner World, Spiritual Healing, Internal Family Systems, and Emanuel Swedenborg. I am very excited for that conversation. If you don't know what any of that is, let me invite you to check out Internal Family Systems Therapy. That's the kind of therapy I practice. And Emanuel Swedenborg, I mean, just read about him for 5 minutes and then call me or email me and tell me that you're not interested in learning more. Okay? That man is quite interesting. What am I hearing? Hold on. Oh, it's just the laundry. Oh my God. So professional. Okay. So those are who are coming. Let me play a clip. Here's a clip from my conversation with Cori. I'll see you on the other side. Let's do it.
To set the context for, we're in 2025. We're doing a live video chat miles and miles away, probably like 30 or 40 miles away, right? Mm-hmm. It's 1 o'clock, or it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday. And it's been 536 days that the genocide in Gaza is going on. Just to hit that point, I heard something on a podcast the other day, and I thought it bared repeating.
Okay.
So, there's a journalist that was killed 2 days ago in Gaza. He was targeted, but he wrote a statement, and it was shared with everyone posthumously. And it goes, "If you're reading this, it means I've been killed, most likely targeted by the Israeli occupation forces. When this all began, I was only 21 years old, a college student with dreams like anyone else. For the past 18 months, I've dedicated every moment of my life to my people. I documented the horrors in northern Gaza minute by minute, determined to show the world the truth they tried to bury. I slept on pavements, in schools, in tents, anywhere I could. Each day was a battle for survival. I endured hunger for months, yet I never left my people's side. By God, I fulfilled my duty as a journalist. I risked everything to report the truth, and now I'm finally at rest. Something I haven't known in the past 18 months. I did all this because I believe in the Palestinian cause. I believe this land is ours, and it has been the highest honor of my life to die defending it and serving its people. I ask you now, do not stop speaking about Gaza. Do not let the world look away. Keep fighting, keep telling our stories until Palestine is free. For the last time, Qassem Shabbat from northern Gaza." And I just thought that was kind of powerful, and I just wanted to share that and repeat it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing it.
And kind of going back to circle back to what we were talking about before I was contexting. I don't think Gaza is talked about enough. And I think that's a big part of the media too. Everything's very quick. There's so much, everybody's so inundated with, oh, here's tweet, here's fact, here's the thing. Hear what Elon said, you hear what Trump did, you hear all the stuff, and it's like, whoa, what? And things kind of suck. I mean, suck for people enough that they're like, hey, I'm trying to get to my job, get home, pick up the kids, do all the things, juggle everything. And
okay, that was just a little snippet. Cori and I cover many things, but I identify with who he was talking about at the very end there. Just trying to get to my job, pick up the kids. I go on in that conversation to talk about how ashamed I am of not being really connected to the news cycle. I feel like I'm trying to protect my mental health by not being connected, but I'm also, I don't want to be, the guy with his ostrich head in the sand. So I did hear, speaking of the news, they got the one of the leaders of MS-13, right? That's good. That's a shimmering nugget of good news. MS-13 bad, right? Law enforcement good. It's not that cut and dried, obviously, but Yeah. Did you all hear this Rumesa Ozturk story? I'm trying to be a little bit more informed. I heard this. If you don't know, she's the Tufts University student. I think she's probably, as of now, at a detention facility in Louisiana. She got arrested by ICE agents. I guess I'm not surprised that ICE agents are not like, what's it called? Identified in uniforms and stuff. I get like there's like undercover stuff that has to happen. But I heard on the news, like, it was pretty distressing for like people in the neighborhood when just guys with masks on. I mean, I don't know if these were like the surgical masks, like someone that wears during pandemic lockdowns. Certainly not Halloween scream masks. Okay. But just the point being, unidentified men are like, detaining or they're arresting a woman, right? The student. And so if you're in the neighborhood and you're just watching this, you're like, is this a kidnapping? I don't know. It's like really stressful for the eyewitnesses. It's obviously stressful for her. So apparently she was she's a Tufts University student and wrote a paper last year, op-ed on Israel's war in Gaza. So, pro-Palestinian activists are, they're students in the U.S. They have student visas, and then you can, I guess, Rubio revoked a bunch of these student visas, and then that makes them technically deportable. So is that a good thing? I don't. My instincts say no. It seems. I don't know. Is this one of those things where you're like, oh, if you don't agree with my politics, I'm going to come get you? I'm just making that link. I'm not saying that's true or not. But when I hear, Trump making claims about I'm going to go after my political enemies, I didn't. I thought about the whole. Okay, Fauci, he has to pay for private security, but like we're gonna revoke. Who's the guy? God damn, I'm so lost in my own thoughts right now. I can't remember his name. Someone had like security clearance, or they had a Secret Service protection, I guess. And then Trump's like, yeah, you don't get that anymore. You don't get that, so that you can be vulnerable. I think it may be one of the former generals. Scott Milley? Not Scott Milley. God, I went to high school with Scott Milley. Mark Milley. Anyway, it's upsetting. The deportations are out of control. And what are we going to do about this? I keep thinking to myself, luckily this is where we rely on the younger people and their activism, or people with less demands. But that's not responsible. I've got to reawaken my activism part. My activism part is the last time my activism part was doing anything substantively meaningful was when Michael Moore was like, Trump won. It was in like 2016. It was like, Trump won, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to call your congressman. And I was like, okay, I took my like pen and paper, and I was like, okay, I'm going to call my congressman. So my activism part is just is in one of those Matrix fuel cells that's being harvested for energy by the AI bots. I don't know. Gosh, this is so depressing. Okay, let me close this. Where are we at here? 14 minutes. All right, this is a short episode. Let me close this on some uplifting news. My daughter won bingo for 2 out of 2 times. Hooray! She gets a $25 gift card to the restaurant. That's good, right? Well, this is why. Okay, so this is why I need to have other people on, like Cori and others, who pay attention to the news more than I do, and have them help educate me and our audience, you sweet listeners. I don't know. This is also why like sports is nice. You just watch sports, you kind of tune out the news. You sleep well. Yeah, there's. I know I'm missing important things. It's not a fear of missing out. It's a fear of betraying values. That's what it is. What should I be doing? That's the question. What ought I do with the chaos that's happening? I'm thinking about, like, what's his name? Steve Bannon. Was he the guy with the flood the zone strategy? Just flood the zone. Flood the zone, and then people will be overwhelmed. Well, it's working. I'm overwhelmed. I haven't tuned out. I listen to, PBS NewsHour and the Meet the Press legacy media stuff, but I also got to take my girls to birthday parties. You know what I'm saying? All right, I want to hear from you all. If you have a suggestion for a guest or a topic to cover, if you have a question, write into the show at robinsmithshow@gmail.com. Leave a voicemail on the show's hotline, 301-458-0883. And if you're a fan of the show and you would like to support it to reach more listeners, you can share it with friends, family, and colleagues. You can subscribe, follow, rate the show on your favorite podcast app. Reviews are always welcome. You can become a monthly supporter on Patreon. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out, last week, the last episode, I had Chris Hancock on. Speaking of Patreon, Chris Hancock did a multi-dimensional divine light transmission session with me a couple Saturdays ago. And I'm thinking about throwing that up on the Patreon account. If you're interested in what that is, or although maybe I should edit it. Not, I'm not taking out anything meaningful, but there's a lot of silence, right? So just maybe you can hear like the intro and then the debriefing and stuff. Learn more about what that is. You can always check out Chris Hancock's website. He's therapyoutside.thebox.com. And anyway, yeah, that's it. That's the show. That's the podcast. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you all next week with the legendary Cori Grieb. Take care for now. The Robin Smith Show is produced by me, Robin Smith. Executive produced by Robin and Kelly Glenn Smith at Team Robley. Theme song by The Very Small. The show is engineered by one of my alters, Games Nabisco. Listeners can get in touch by calling or texting the hotline at 301-458-0883. Messages can be sent to robinsmithshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Disclaimer: this podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, psychotherapy, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. Note: no therapist-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information is at the listener's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Listeners should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.